welcome to All My Novel Ideas. This is Sharon. So today I thought I would go through my current techo kaigi and then kind of discuss if I plan to change anything for 2024 because I'm going to be setting up my 2024 weeks shortly. It'll probably take multiple sessions, but I kind of want to get started on certain things, and I've been trialing some new setups in the back of spreads, basically. So these are my dailies, journals. I really only have one planner. If you consider my jotter also a planner, then I have two. But everything else I have is I would call a journal, and primarily they're used for tracking purposes, except for my hone, which is used for memory keeping. So I was about to say 2016, for 2023, this is my memory keeper. It has you might know that I'm currently working on back planning some of it. But yeah, so it's very simple. I put in thoughts, celebrations, music, movies, things like that. It's just a general memory keeper for the year. I think of it kind of like a scrapbook, so anything can go in it, and it's probably my favorite because it's the ones that I refer to the most out of all of mine journals. My weeks is my planner. I use it weekly. It's always open on my desk, generally to the week I'm currently in. It just lays flat. This week's kind of barren. I haven't really put anything in it, but it's always on my desk. It's my high-level view of what goes on throughout the week. And I've used the beginning as fitness this year, and I did that last year too. I plan to use it again like that in 2024. But I've been trialing this as like a monthly overview because I had drawn something at the back for the monthly overview. It's kind of just a recap of the month. Like I do small victory, best day, most played song, and then favorites. But I wasn't flipping back here. Like I kind of forgot this was here to fill out. So I decided, what if I put it in the front, because I don't forward plan in my weeks, and you'll get January, February, and March for 2024, but for 2024 weeks, it'll be 2025. So I'm thinking of using it the same way because you could do 4 months per spread. And I really like this. It was more on my mind because I think because it's up with where the monthly plans are, and I refer to my monthly, not except when I refer to it when I'm doing weekly planning, but overall I update it at the end of the month. If I had put events in my weeks that hadn't been on monthly plan, it'll get put back here if I think it was important enough. So I just think it flows better up in the front here because it's related to the month. And I know I have to fill it out at the end of the month. I don't know if that to me, it makes sense. Basically, it's facilitating me to use it more. Whereas when it's in the back, I forget about it. It's at the very back of my notes pages. I don't flip to there all that often, so it's just kind of hidden. I'm also, when I conceptualized this, I thought it'd be cool to do moods and a monthly spread, but that just doesn't work for me. It looks nice, but I think what's gonna work better is I decided to do it like how I do habit trackers, just across the bottom, and then I would put spaces between the months because there'd be enough space on each of the pages. So at least I can see it in a 1 to 30 kind of spread, which I think will work better in my mind, and I will be able to transfer that information better into my memory keeper at the end of the year. But I'm really liking this. I like it a lot better than what I initially drew, and it took a lot less effort to draw this than the one at the back. My projects section, I did this in 2022 also, but it didn't look as elaborate. I liked that I had a landing page because to me, it really separates out the month into projects. These pages are, they give you December, right, in your weeks. So these are December. So I did a landing page just of like ephemera, and I think this was from a Rifle Paper Co. monthly from years ago. And then I wrote out my goals for the year. And I just really like that. I have it tabbed. And then I have my project sections where I took Tomoe River paper. Basically, years ago, when I was in a traveler's journal, someone I was watching had said that they made traveler's notebooks out of Tomoe River paper because it was better for fountain pens. And I was like, oh, that sounds fun. So then I bought a pack off of Amazon. So this is like the old Tomoe River paper in A4 size. It's probably from like 2018. And I never made those journals. So I just had a pack, and I realized, oh, I could totally cover up the weeks. Do I have an empty one? Yeah, so totally can cover up this, and it makes it more usable instead of just writing over it. And instead of using whiteout, I find it's easier because I can use marker on it and it'll dry quicker. I think for next year, though, I'm also going to just use Tomoe River paper up here, just because it's not that it's, like, I know what that says on top. It says project, it's just a header, but I think it'll just look a bit cleaner to me. But overall, I'm going to be keeping these the same. The breakdowns, I like how the system's done. This column does differ depending on what the project is. And you can see some of the projects I didn't really do much of this year. I'm hoping to at least fill some stuff out for Q4 for this one. This one is basically me just writing down recipes off the top of my head that I know I want to transcribe into a recipe box or journal, and it's usually like from my mom's recipes or my grandmother's recipes. And then I had an extra week. I didn't end up doing a 4th project, but it's nice to know that I did have it. And then these are weeklies. My weeklies haven't really changed. I don't track water anymore. I switched over to this kind of system, and I'm really liking that. And then I actually added in a goal section, just so it's every week I'm kind of like, I see that's a current goal, let's work on it. Clearly I didn't achieve it last week or this week, but I do like it. Same with my notes section, it's tabbed off. And then I did a landing page, mix of ephemera. This was my favorite traveler's, unfortunately that comes up. This is my favorite traveler's journal, like, theming they did when they did books. So I still have some of those stickers. And then in here I just have a bunch of different logs, like reading logs, adulting, which was inspired by Lindsay Scribbles, movie logs. This is the one that's been getting the most use, I would say. TV, a lot of TV. I've been doing TV show tracking like that since I bullet journaled, so probably since 2016, 2015. Project pans, project stationery. All of those are going to stay the same. I'm going to be changing, no, these are staying the same too, sorry. I'm going to be changing gifts given and gifts received. It's just not functional the way it is, so I drew out how I want it to change. So it's going to go from just writing to, it'll be horizontally written out, and I'll have it as person, birthday, Christmas, and then what was given or what was received. I just think it'll be easier to read in a format like that. This is how I thread weekly memories. So what happens is on weeks where I have a lot to say. I don't journal every day, but sometimes it's like, oh, I have a lot of things I want to write about that week, and then I run out of space. So I thread it to weekly memories. I'll title it with the color according to the month, the week, and the week number, and then I'll just continue journaling. So these are threaded throughout a couple different pages at this point. This is the recent threading. I like that. I don't mind that it's not connected, because I don't know, I think I'm just used to that when it's like you used to thread like lists in between things in like bullet journal spreads. So next year this is just gonna become one spread, because I don't refer here enough for it to have its own page. This is one of my favorite spreads that I'm definitely going to continue. I basically consume more content on YouTube than I do TV shows, like streaming or anything, or movies. So I wanted to kind of keep track of things that I really enjoyed watching, because I generally, like TV shows, I'm kind of keeping track of episodes. Movies, once I've watched one, I kind of write a little blurb in my journal about it. But sometimes I watch a really good video and then I forget about what it was called, or I can't find it again. A really good example would be Why Doesn't the Industry Make Good Girls Games by Moon Channel. It was so good, like phenomenal. And I was like, I have to write that down. So I really enjoy this. I think I was doing it at the end of 2022, and then I continued it into 2023. There's a couple more videos I need to add in here. And I don't write about every like video. It's more like videos that really stood out to me and I was thinking about it. It doesn't matter the content. Some of it's journalism. Sometimes it's just like, I guess it's a lot of video essays, I would say. But yeah, I really enjoy that. And I model it after weekly memories, where I, again, just thread it to the week. So I don't know why I don't need that, but I just kind of like to see like, oh, maybe that was influencing things of that week. This was inspired by Lindsay Scribble's call log. I think hers is more short form, but I really enjoy it. Got a number of blank pages here. So for project stationery, I'm just kind of enjoying keeping track of when a washi tape's finished and then when a sticker runs out. This is the last sticky note. Glue stick's finished. I'm currently almost on my third of the year. But next year I'm going to put this behind project stationery, just so it's like right there. Albums bought, recommended. I saw someone talk about this. Oh, I want to say it was My Dandelion Planner. I'll find the channel and link it below, but they were doing a health journal, and they had put in a leaving the house tracker. And I was like, yeah, I definitely need to do that, because it would be good to see how often I am actually leaving the house. And I'm not counting leaving the house for like school. It's like actually just going out and even just doing something. So yeah. This was inspired by another channel where they're doing strength goals, and they had drawn like this whole thing out, and they were doing, I think she was training for a half marathon. I'll try and find her channel too, because I definitely wrote it down somewhere, like that this was inspired by. But she had done like the months, and then she was going to keep track of like for crunches how many she could do in a row here in January, and then where did she end up in December. And then she was doing a scaling, she was doing a graph also to show the increase. And I really liked that. And then I added this page for myself where it's like, I want to set a goal for end of year and see if I achieve that. Just a note section, because I often find I need to scribble things. And then for me, trackers work the best when I get to color things in. So I made this, I just made this where I get to color them in. Technically, I could color, some of these need to be colored in already because I'm doing more than 0 to begin with, but yeah. I'm gonna do that again. I might, because, I don't know, this is the kind of stuff that makes me want to work out, is like, actually, can you see the change from now to then? Nope, from then to now. I'm switching my to-do for next year, where it's going to, instead of doing an overall master to-do, I'm just going to do it by month, and I'm going to just color it according to the monthly. Like, if it's October's 9:05, this is 9:22, I believe. These were all sections that I might not be keeping. I was doing like ideal routine tracker. This is an old printable I made. Well, I didn't make, I printed it out from like Pinterest from years ago. It was in my happy planner. It's gone through subsequent like journals since. And I thought, why don't we just tape it in permanently? I had written out an ideal routine. I have not done it. We'll see if I do it next year. I think it's a nice idealistic goal. Same with steps. It's like, it'd be nice to be filling it out, but I'm not. So, daily stretching. Most of those I think are going to go away. The ideal routine I might still do next year, but I'll have to wait. I'll see. I think it's, if I would need to start doing it now. If I can start doing it now, then I'm more likely to continue it into next year. But I currently am not making any strides to doing it now, so it's telling me that I probably don't need to do these spreads next year. And then I also had been using the 365 checkoff as a photo a day, and I clearly gave that up at the end of January. So there's gonna be some changes made, some things I'm still thinking about. This is probably the newest thing that I'm most excited about, and I think it's probably because of this printable I made for myself. It was very simple, it was just in pages, but I really like coloring in trackers. So that's how I use my weeks, and probably how it'll change. This is my jotter. I can't show you the calendar section, it just has like sensitive info. But I have basically the quarter printed out as a calendar. I make the calendars in pages, and then as a full page landscape. And then I print it having 2 calendars on 1 page. And then I cut them to just fit the happy planner size, the mini, because it's smaller than a half page. But yeah, that's how I made them. Quite easy. So I keep the first quarter in, and it has all of my like due dates and everything for school or important dates. And then I also have this, which is just like class, and then contact info for professor. It's like where the room is, when we meet, all of that stuff. And it's just kind of a lecture tracker. So that's what goes in my calendar section. In agenda, you might have seen this, where it's just my weekly to do. This is essentially a daily bullet journal. So from this week, for example, I had what I had to do up top, and then I also will use the bottom with just like general notes. So during the day, at some point, I was really interested in best dairy-free pre-packaged snacks, because I can't eat dairy. So I was just writing down things, and then it's also difficult because a lot of these lists will have things from like Trader Joe's, and there's no Trader Joe's where I live, so I was trying to find things like it said skinny popcorn, the white cheddar one is dairy-free, not the aged white cheddar, the original white cheddar. So I bought a bag this week, so I was like, okay, well, I've been really craving cheddar popcorn. It was not worth it at all. It was kind of like, I was kind of really upset. There's a real downside about it, but yeah, it's just general notes will go down here. I also, let's see, what else have I taken notes on? This just says LCBO opens at 10 a.m. Random things like that. To-dos. Oh yeah, sunscreen suggested by Our Asian Beauty. Because I prefer AB sunscreens to sunscreens you can find here. What do I need for in my purse? Yeah. And then generally, so like at the end of this week, I don't always take out the previous week and recycle right away. Sometimes it sits in there for a little bit. But whenever I go to get rid of these pages, because I no longer have use for them anymore, I will decide if this information is important enough to be transferred to me. If it is, it'll either get transferred to back in my information section here, which are just like notes that I had taken, and I'm just kind of archiving them in here. But this is not like a landing spot. Like, things might stay here for a while, but eventually they either get moved from here into my memory keeper, or I've done the action plan to it and it can just be recycled. Like this, for example, has, I was doing a language journal, you'll see it shortly, and I was just writing out how the different spreads I want to do. I always figure out spreads like this before I put something onto paper, and I would have already gotten rid of this, except I wrote this whole section, and I need to decide if I want to transcribe this section into the language journal, or if I don't need to hold on to it. It's like I can find it on the app. Just stuff like that. That's why it's back here until I figure out what I want to do. But yeah, so a bunch of notes paper. Then I have these, which were inspired by the plotter binders. I don't know what it is. It's not like it just seems like a great use of paper to me. Like, I want to call it engineering. I don't know if it would be, it's not, whoever conceptualized the idea of, instead of just using a dashboard to like divide up a binder, they were like, they should make these project things where you put all the papers related to the project in it, and then it's contained. I loved that. It made me really want a plotter, except I don't have a need for a plotter, and I don't really love ring system, because the thing I like about this is I can write on top of itself, whereas you can't really do that with a binder. So I was like, why don't I just make it? I have a ton of scrapbook paper I've been trying to use up. So I made 2. I think I'm going to make a 3rd. I have no use for a 3rd, but I just feel like 3 is a better number than 2. Yeah, and then there's just random notes back here on things that I need to action or figure out what to do. And that is my jotter. So those are the daily things I use in my techo kaigi. I'm gonna now show you this over here on my desk. So welcome to my desk. These are for project memory keeps. This is 2022's, and that's 2021's Hobonichi. In here, you have the rest of my journals. I'm keeping currently washies I'm trying to use up for project stationery in here. This is an old Rifle Paper Co. notepad I'm trying to use up. This is my pencil case that has like school stuff, and then it's really just school stuff actually, but it has my like favorite pencil and eraser in it, so it's all just kept in there. This is my ephemera. I guess I was gonna say binder, but it's a traveler's journal. Content planning. This is my favorite one. It's book, like my book journal and language journal, sketchbook, and TNP. So I'll pull those out for us to look through. It's quite the hefty stack, I would say. The first one I will show you will be these two. This is my collections journal. it's basically where I'm transferring any information. Like these are habit trackers from 2022 that I put into here because I want to collect the data before I can see. I decided that I should collect a lot of data and then be able to see the trends between last year and this year before deciding how to make changes to make it easier. Not that I haven't made changes to certain habits throughout that time frame, but I wanted to see if I have, like, for example, water. It shows that, like, it says there's no water data. It doesn't mean I wasn't drinking my daily water. It's just I wasn't tracking it from April until November. And did that happen again? Does that mean to tell me that it's not on my mind during the spring and summer because I'm consuming more because it's warmer? Just kind of stuff like that. I was just curious. It then has my overall to watch in it. At the end of the year, I'll move over movies from my 2023 weeks into here. And it's the movies that I'm either have been on the list for the whole year and I haven't touched, so I'm not going to watch it. It's not a dire watch. Or some of these have been on the list for a long time, like The Hangover. I've never seen. I would like to watch it, but I just never get around to it, so it's kind of just been on the list. Just random lists like favorite Christmas films, favorite fall films, favorite comfort films, TV shows. This includes like all TV shows that I've been wanting to watch in the past. The old 2016. So it has when I started some of these shows, and then some of them haven't been finished. So most of these are shows that I need to either watch or I started at some point and I need to finish them at some point. It's basically like filled with historical data. I combed through when I was writing it where shows I know I'm never going to get back to didn't make it onto that list. Same with like this. These are shows where this is where I stopped watching and I don't want to have to transfer it over anymore because 3%, for example, I've watched most of season 2, but I feel like I'd have to restart because I can't really remember what happened in season 2. But I was transferring that over from like 2018 data and I just wanted to stop transferring it, so it's gone into here until I decide to like finish it at some point. And I may never decide, but that's if I need to go back, it is there. Favorite TV shows, Studio Ghibli films. I wanted to do a whole watch from the beginning to the end, so I just thought I'd write it out as a list. This is a to read section. This is an old list I had from bullet journal, and it's just all the classics I would want to read at some point in my life. I haven't updated some of these I've read since then, but quotes I like. Nintendo Switch games. Played, finished, completed. Most of these I've finished now. Games to buy. Where is it? These are things where it's like, when I go looking for it, where is it? That's where it is. Because I don't need it all that often. I put all of my stickers in a collection because I was like, the goal is to use all of my stuff up before I buy anything new. And I was thinking that maybe one of the things holding me back from finishing sheets is that, oh, once it's gone, it's gone. But I'm like, if I put them all in my collections, then I can see them at some point. So these are all my Coffee Monsters Co. stickers. Whimsical Cat, who's now Whimsy Studio, I believe. Paper and Milk, and Fox and Cactus. Same with my washi tapes. This is where I actually reference this quite a lot because it's easier than pulling all of the washi tapes out. It's like, oh, what washi tapes do I have in this color scheme? So these are all simply gilded washis. These are all my MT washies. Coffee Monsters Co. Round Top. And then all my Christmas themed ones. And then we get into all of my swatches. So these are my Crayola Super Tips, Winston and Newton watercolors, Jelly Rolls, Sarasa Dry, Statler, all of my Tombos, Zebra Click Art, Zebra Mild Liners. Oh yeah, you can see I didn't have enough space for Tombow, so I had to thread that. All of my ink samples, you can see it says use up my inks 2020, 2021. I did not use them up. So some of the samples I haven't even opened. So when I open them, I'm supposed to put the swatch beside it and then say whether I would buy it. This is unnecessary information, except to say if it was complete, I guess, but yeah. And then that's the end of my collections. I call this my TNP. It's Thoughts and Prayer Journal. It's started originally as my bullet journal for 2018. Actually, I don't even think it was a bullet journal. No, it was more just journaling. There's a lot of journaling. This is when I bought a lot of my Tombos. Not my first Tombow. I think I bought that in like 2016, 2017, but then you can see 2019 starts right there. So a lot of this is journaling, so I'm not going to flip through that. But it's taken a while to finish this because I used to daily journal for maybe like 2 years, and now I feel like I don't need to do it as frequently. But when I need to, this is where I do like all processing journaling, ranting journaling, sad journaling, happy journaling, like just a bunch of like the stuff that's more process stuff than it is like memory keeping. And it can be kind of circular, I would say. So it's not something I need to do every day. But when I do, I write in here. But as you can see, this is how long I've been doing this kind of TV show tracking. Because this would have been my 4th bullet journal book, I guess, at that point. And then I just think it's funny because some of this, when I was writing up my collections, I would have gone through and be like, I'm never finishing that. So it doesn't need to be written down. This is just what I used to keep back here. I used to always transfer a Tombow color wheel. I don't know why, I just felt the need. All of these are used fairly, actually not this one. I had bought this to be my wallet last year, and then I just didn't like the size, I guess. So instead I turned it into an ephemera book. I got cutting, what are these? These Travelers like file folders, cutting them open. I was inspired by Job's journal. So this is just holding all of my like movies and book covers here, CDs, mini book covers for when I do books read in that month spread. This has photos for memory keeping from 2022. This has just random ephemera that I need to use, stuff from 2023. And then these are like screenshots of things I found funny and receipts that I have photocopied because like receipt paper doesn't last in notebooks. So I photocopy them and then cut out for journaling spreads. So it's just housing all of my like ephemera stuff like that. In here, I'm just doing like content-based stuff. I've taken, this is a 2021 A6 supplement. It was when I was planning to use the A6 as a planner, and I thought using this as like a weekly would be good, except I didn't use it like that. I used it for like maybe 2 months, and then it's been sitting. I didn't get rid of it because I thought like maybe I'd use it in the future, or I'd be like curious about this. Maybe I'd be like, oh, maybe I should try that again. So I kept it, and I've just been using it now, and I actually really like it. I redated everything. The size is nice. It fits into this passport chic Sparrow cover, which I thought was even better. So yeah, that's that. And then this is just notes on stuff, on like content stuff. So very simple, just a journal basically. This is my favorite one. I mean, it's also my favorite cover I have. It was also a chic Sparrow passport. It was in, what's it called? It was the Tea House collection in matcha. The Tea House collection, I believe, was the same leather as the Austin collection now, but it was treated differently. The color was, I love how it's gone like this more sagey, darker green. It was very blue-green originally. And this just has field notes in it. So this one is my book journal. So it has my goals. I'm not gonna read 100 books this year. It's just not gonna happen, but we'll trialing. I've done it previously, and I just didn't start reading books this year until like August. So I'm put my goal as 25, I believe, on Goodreads, which I should make that. That's fine. I also was like, oh, maybe I'll try the reading A to Z challenge at the beginning of the year. I'm not going to finish that either because I was being strict with like books that start with the. They can't be used for another letter. So instead what I'm going to do is I'm going to transfer it into 2024. And just all of the ones I've read that can be put in, I'll put them in like gray to show I didn't read them that year. And eventually I'll finish it. See, I told you I love coloring in trackers. This is just Goodreads reading goal. In here, I put it to 45 because some books I don't want to claim to have read. But I'm probably not going to hit 45. I think I'm going to hit 25 easily. And then just Goodreads review goal, because I had started writing reviews in my book journal back here last year. And then I didn't type out any of them. I was like, why not? You're writing them. Why don't you just put them online again? As we can see, this is a monthly reading tracker, and I didn't use it until here. I read a lot in September. Not as much so far in October. I was thinking for next year I might do 2 months per page. But we'll see if I manage to keep up the amount of reading that I was doing for September. If not, I don't really need all that extra space. This is my reading log. I was putting title, time spent, and date. I don't know that I need the time spent, but I also kind of like it. And then these are just the first 2 reviews in this one. I'm trying to finish up books currently read in 2023. I'm trying to finish up this insert, which was used originally as a planner for school, and then I turned it into this book journal in the end of 2022, but it was a lot less sophisticated. It was more just writing down title, author, and then stuff like that. And then this year I was watching someone and they were printing up book covers, and I went, that's nice. I kind of like how it makes it a bigger thing. So I started doing that. And it's just quick little reviews on the books I've been reading or listening to. Yeah, I really like that. So I'll be continuing 2024's in here because I won't be finishing this insert by the end of the year, I doubt. If I do finish it, I'll start a brand new one and it'll mostly look the same. I just haven't decided if I'm going to keep time spent. And then this is another book that I'm trying to finish off. It was a lot of random bullet journal stuff, and then I turned it this year into language studying. So just kind of writing down vocabulary as I'm studying through things, but I'm almost done. This book, it's 1 page left, and I actually prefer study notes like that to be done on my iPad. So what this is actually going to become is this language journal that I set up, which is more focused on tracking my progress than it is on vocabulary. And languages I'm currently learning: French, Korean, and German. In the future, I'd like to do Japanese and Spanish also. And then I was writing down current levels that I have and where I want to be at the end of the year. French is kind of difficult for me in the sense that I'm definitely further along than A1 because of schooling, and I've been keeping up with French, but I haven't really been taking it seriously. So I know a lot of vocab, but I would say some of my grammar has left me. So I would like to be solidly into A2 per the apps I'm using, even though I'm kind of ahead of the apps I'm using. So in French, I'm currently using Duolingo and Moral, which I don't know if you can get Moral if you're not in Canada. If you are, I highly recommend it. It's free per Radio Canada /CBC, and it's all, what it is basically they have video clips and you have to just auditorily listen to it, and then you answer the questions after it. So it's unique in the sense that you're hearing a lot of different native, I'm assuming most of them are Quebecois, but they could also be like from France, French. But because it's Radio Canada, I'm assuming it's shows being played. Okay, I'm gonna re-explain that. If you're not Canadian, CBC /Radio Canada, CBC is Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, and they only really show shows on CBC, which is the English version of Radio Canada. CBC only shows only broadcasts shows that are Canadian in focus. Like Schitt's Creek was on CBC. What's that? Town of Doyle from the Maritimes. Little Mosque on the Prairie. Like all of those were on CBC. They could also be on Global, but CBC is like showing Canadian made productions. So the reason I'm assuming everyone in Moral is Quebecois is because I would be assuming that those are shows played on Radio Canada in Quebec. You could get Radio Canada in Ontario or anywhere in the country too. I just haven't been watching Radio Canada. If I'm watching one, I'm watching CBC. So that's why I'm assuming it's people who are speaking natively Quebecois. But it could also just be French shows from like France or other places that speak French. So that's my moral tracker. And then for moral, I had to look it up to see what the CEFR levels are compared to the moral levels. So if you do end up using it, and you can use it also to learn English if you're a French speaker, which I found really, so it's like a dual, that's why it's Radio Canada and CBC. But for moral, it only gets you, I guess, to B2, which is still pretty decent. Like Korean, I'm doing Duolingo, Talk to Me in Korean, and Lingo Dear, but I haven't been doing Korean since like March, so I really need to pick it back up. And that one's more because I consume a lot of content in Korean, so I figured it'd be easier if I learned the language. And that's where I stopped, with setting up my language journal. But that's going to go into here once I finish up that other insert. And then the final is, this is just my sketchbook. This is a Traveler's Company Olive Standard TN from 2017. I made this pocket folder, I guess, at the beginning of the year, just to house washi tapes for painting, for edging, so it's easily, they're accessible. I should be drawing in here daily, but I'm not. It's more, I would say, a couple times a week, and then I split the journal into 4 sections because I just didn't think I would use a full space in a daily sketch. But yeah, it's just trying to help me get better with drawing again. And then this one is supposed to be helping me with like my watercoloring, but I haven't done anything since these two. But I like it. I still don't really love the size of standard TNs, but I'm using up the books that I have, so yeah. So that is my complete techo kaigi. Again, this is what I've used daily. And these are my favorites, and then this would be also a favorite, I would say, because I really like my book journal. But none of it's complex or difficult setups. Everything is mainly as simplistic as it can be, because otherwise I wouldn't keep up with them. If I don't do things, unless I'm in here, setting up spreads to me is like not worth it. This book is the book where I care. But as you can see in the book journal, it's very simple. It's just title, author, date started, date ended, rating. Yeah. I hope you liked hearing about how I use my miscellaneous and abundant journals. Thanks for everyone who subscribed recently, and I hope you had a good day, good week, and good night, and hopefully we'll see you soon. All right, talk to you later. Bye.